All right, I see we got about 3 minutes after, so I will continue to admit people as they join us the next few minutes, and I will also cover the chat. So I'd like to welcome everyone on behalf of this USDA AFRI grant that I am currently, my name is John Clendaniel, I'm with Delaware State University, and we have secured this grant with partners from the 1890s, and we appreciate you all being here. Basically, this is a train the trainer, so we're going to give you the information, and then we're going to load all the information on the AEA website and have it available for you to pass out to your clientele and give this information any way possible to make sure that we're trying to reach people that may have not been in the mainstream of information, or they're skeptical of the information that's out there, and it is good to come from somebody they trust, like their extension agent or specialist. So I appreciate everyone being here. I think we earmarked like 4 hours, but it has been tweaked to be much faster than that. So we're gonna free up a little bit of your time, and we appreciate your attention. If everyone would just stay muted. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat, and we'll probably open up a couple times where you can unmute yourself to ask questions as well. So with that, I think we'll be able to make it through. Do you think we'll need a break somewhere in the mix, or we're just going to try to run through it and make it through without a break?
No, we can maybe take a couple 5-minute breaks or so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave that to our leader of this event, and Jeanette, she can introduce herself and give you guys a little background, and then go ahead and get us started, and she'll let us know when the breaks are and when the return times will be, so that way we can get through this quickly. With that, thank you everyone, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Jeanette. See ya.
Okay. Hello everyone, good morning or afternoon depending on where you are. As John said, I'm Janet Bartlett. I'm a faculty at Tuskegee University in Alabama. And this is the continuation of the series we have been working on with this grant in providing information to trainers. So we're kind of training the trainers who will eventually pass this information on to their clientele. This morning, I'm gonna have a co-presenter. His name is Dr. Diabate. He's also a faculty here at Tuskegee, and I'll just let him introduce himself for a minute, and then we'll get started. Hi, Dr. Diabate.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Yusuf Diabate, and I'm an agricultural economist. I work with small and limited resource farmers and communities, minority communities for business plan, economic development, how to write a business plan, and how to apply for different grants for USDA.
Okay, so that was Yusuf. And I'm gonna get started here with just some overall information. Oh boy. Information about the virus. So we're gonna just cover a little bit about the virus. So, you know, we're kind of reminding everybody what this is about, and learn about some of the safety precautions that we need to take, talk a little bit about getting yourself tested, getting vaccinations. And then we try to identify those points of contamination that's possible along the food chain, and what practices we need to do in order to reduce the transmission rate and to protect ourselves and the food that we eat. Okay, so as I said, we're gonna start with a little background, some introduction. And by now you guys know that the COVID-19 is caused by the SarCoV virus. And it became a pandemic a little over a year ago when it started to almost getting out of control all over the world. And that it is spread primarily through person-to-person contact. And there are different ways in which the virus can be shed from person to person, and through respiratory droplets, through coughing, talking, sneezing, or even contact with contaminated surfaces, which we'll talk about a little more. Now, this is a short video clip kind of explaining some of that and how important it is to take precautions. This thing is kind of in the way here. Okay.
COVID-19 spreads from person to person through respiratory droplets as we cough, sneeze, talk, or breathe. Wear a mask that covers your nose and mouth and fits snugly against the side of your face without gaps. Masks act as a barrier to help stop respiratory droplets from spreading to others. They also act as a barrier to help stop droplets in the air from spreading to you. If you are within 6 feet of a person with COVID-19, you could be exposed. Stay at least 6 feet from other people and wear a mask. If possible and safe, increase ventilation by opening windows, doors, and using fans. Wear a mask over your mouth and nose. Stay at least 6 feet away from others. Avoid crowds and poorly ventilated spaces. Wash your hands with soap and water for 20 seconds. Get a COVID-19 vaccine when it's available to you.
Okay, so what that little video clip did was just kind of show you what we just talked about on the slide about how to protect yourself and the people that you're around. And we know that based on news reports, you guys know that there are still skeptics out there, but it's important that we provide information like this to everyone, especially people who are not, news junkies and really maybe not watch the news, or it's not as available to them. So it's kind of, our responsibility, I guess, if they're the people we work around, to kind of provide this information for them. Now, in the video clip, it said it's important to make sure that when you wear your mask, it covers your nose and mouth. Some people, they cover their mouth, but their nose is not covered, or they wear it under their chin, which is, I'm not sure the purpose of that. This information here is showing you that just breathing alone, depending on how long you're exposed to somebody or a group of people who are shedding the virus, just 50 minutes in that group of people are around somebody shedding, just breathing, you can get an infectious dose of the virus, because they can be shedding just by breathing 20 viral particles per minute. If they're talking, then did not have their mouth covered and they're talking, you see how many viral particles they can be shedding. And within 5 minutes, you can be infected. And just imagine coughing and sneezing. You see how many viral particles are released during any of those episodes. So that's why it's extremely important to try to get to those skeptics who think it's not that important to wear a mask. Just let them know how important that is. And again, one of the things we have to remember is that there are asymptomatic people who they may not look sick or have any symptoms, but they may still be shedding the virus. So we have to pass that on to our clientele to make sure that they think that everybody's fine. That person is not sick. So, it's not that serious, but we need to make sure that they understand that. Now, this chart here just shows some of the prevalent symptoms that people who get the virus, and even up to 60 days post COVID-19, they can still be experiencing some of these symptoms. And if you have ever been really sick, these are things you do not want to have. And I'm not going to really read them off here because you can see them here, but they are very serious symptoms that you would prefer not to have. So, I mean, it's much easier to wear a mask than to take the chance of suffering from any of these symptoms. And if we can get that over to people, make sure they understand that, then hopefully we can reduce the transmission. Now, there are ways in which are resources that you can go to find information about your what's happening in your particular region, your area, your community, the county you're working in. As I said before, I'm from Alabama, so I tend to use the Alabama information, but it's the same information. You can find that anywhere you go. So you can come to the map, and I'm gonna click on Alabama because I'm in Alabama. And what this is gonna show you is the rate of transmission of the virus, whether it's slow rate of transmission, and it's color coded. For example, Montgomery, which is our capital city, it shows you that there is, let me click on there. There's a high rate of transmission in Montgomery County. If you're from, let me go, Macon County, this is where Tuskegee University is. It's showing you that there's a high rate of transmission. You see the red is highlighted there. And so you, Elmore County, it shows there's a moderate rate of transmission. So you can use these resources to kind of have an idea and say, for example, you work in any one of these counties, you're trying to convince people how important it is to try to avoid transmission. You can track that, maybe show it to them, let them see that the rate of transmission in their particular communities, is high or moderate or substantial, and hopefully you are able to convince them about the importance of taking precautions. Now we had just gotten used to the COVID-19, and then we start hearing about these variants that are just causing much more problems. So there are multiple variants that have been found documented in the US so far and all over the world. And one of the things that we have heard is that they tend to spread faster and easier. So regardless of what people are saying about, well, the COVID is not being transmitted that much anymore, we do not have to take that much precaution. That's not true, because now we have these variants we have to deal with as well. And what they're worried about, other than just people getting sick and dying, is that it's going to put a strain on the healthcare systems. Because remember in the beginning when COVID-19 just started, they were running out of spaces in hospital. There were high rates of death. So if we do not control the variants, we might end up in those kind of situations again. So we're trying to avoid that. I'm not going to go through these resources. Maybe I'll click on one just to give you an idea of I know you may have heard of that, but no. And here again, you can go to your state and it kind of shows you the rate of transmission of the different variants. The B117 is the UK variant, which is the one that is the variant of concern, of major concern. So that's the one that's spreading the fastest. Then the B1, which is the South African variant, that's another problem. And then the P1, that is the Brazilian variant. So these are like the three, there are many others, but these are the three major ones of concern. And for example, Florida is one of the states that's really having a problem with the UK variant. You can see the numbers there. And I think followed by Michigan, and then, all the other states. But these two states have the highest rates of the UK variant. So these are places you can go to find out what is going on with that, and pass that information on to your clientele. And this is just a chart showing what I just showed on the link there. And just to see, this is the rate of the different variants of concern in Alabama. This is in the whole United States. This information may have been updated by now, but just to give you an idea. Now, if we do not continue to take precautions, this is a projection curve here showing what will happen if we do not wear the mask, stay socially distant, is that with the variant, this orange curve right here, this is what they are projecting may happen to the amount of cases that they'll find. You see how this is not good. Without the variant, you're still gonna have a slight increase, but you start to see a decline. So that is why we have to be careful and still take precautions, because this is what may happen. And as I said, this is a projection, and depending on how people's behavior, you know, this may not happen. So that's what the hope is, that that does not happen. Now we talk about the virus being spread through coughing, sneezing, you know, the rest of all of the other stuff I mentioned before. However, there is a possibility that you can get infected from touching contaminated surfaces. Although the incidences are low with that, it says approximately 1 in 10,000. However, no one wants to be that one person. So it's best to make sure we take precautions. And they have different types of surfaces here, and it tells you how long the virus will stay viable on these surfaces. So let's just do another small video clip here.
Hi, I'm Dr. John Brooks with the CDC. You've probably read some recent reports about how long COVID-19 can last in the air or on surfaces. A recent study by NIH and CDC suggested that COVID can persist in the air and on surfaces for hours, up to even days. Now, this was a study performed in a laboratory setting, but we don't yet know how that translates to the real world, where things are often very different. These studies are important. We're going to continue doing them, and as we learn more information about what this means to you and your home, we'll keep you informed. Let me remind you, though, how COVID-19 is transmitted. COVID-19 is transmitted primarily through respiratory droplets. That means particles that come out into the air and then settle relatively quickly. This is different than diseases like measles or tuberculosis, that when they get into the air, they can float there for a very long time. What can you do to protect yourself against COVID-19 in your home? Using disinfectants. Sure, COVID-19 comes out, it may fall onto a surface, and it could be there for a couple of hours. But the minute you use disinfectant, it's killed. Let's work together to keep ourselves healthy, our families healthy, and our communities healthy. If you want more information about COVID-19, go to www.cdc.gov/COVID-19.
Okay, so that is to reinforce how important it is to disinfect all your surfaces, since, as I say, you do not want to take that chance and be that person who gets infected in a way where it, you know, in an instance where it could have been avoided. Now, what if somebody in your home has COVID-19? And I've, you know, talked and met people who have had somebody in their home that had the virus. How would you behave differently if someone inside your home has COVID-19? Maybe some of you have known people who has the virus.
How to clean and disinfect your home if someone has COVID-19. For common areas of the home. Each day, clean and disinfect high-touch surfaces and items. High-touch surfaces include tables, countertops, light switches, doorknobs, and cabinet handles. Put on disposable gloves. First, clean the surface with soap and water. Then, use a household disinfectant. Read the label to see how long you should keep the disinfectant on the surface. Have good airflow and ventilation. Follow instructions about rinsing off chemicals. Be sure to put products where children cannot reach them. To clean electronics, follow the manufacturer's instructions. Or use alcohol-based wipes or spray containing at least 70% alcohol. Wash dishes and utensils with soap and hot water, or run them in a dishwasher. For sick areas or rooms of the home. A person who is sick should stay in a separate area or room. and use a separate bathroom if possible. Only clean these areas if something gets soiled. This will help limit your contact. Have the person who is sick wear a mask. A caregiver may also wear a mask. Dedicate a lined trash can if available. Remove the gloves and wash your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. For more on cleaning and disinfecting your home for COVID-19, visit cdc.gov/coronavirus.
Okay, so this information can be passed on. Some people, I'm not sure if they understand how important it is and what care they should take if somebody in their household has the virus. So that video clip kind of explained what needs to be done. Now, another question that I get from people is how they already have disinfectants in their home. How do they know if it is effective on the virus? They're not sure. So there is a link, this link right here, epa.gov/listen, that have a listing of many different types of disinfectants that can be used. However, this short video clip is going to explain to you how to use it, especially if you do not see the name of your disinfectant on that list. There is a way to find out if it still has the active ingredient in that disinfectant that will be effective against the virus. And there's a way for you to know that. So this information you can pass on to people who say they're not sure if the disinfectant they have is effective with the virus. So this will explain how to use the list and link.
This beachfront Verbo is about to become part of an unforgettable vacation memory.
Today, we're going to walk through how to look up a disinfectant product using the List N tool to see whether EPA expects it to kill SarCoV2, the coronavirus that causes COVID-19. The first sentence on this page is really important. All products on this list meet EPA's criteria for use against SarCoV2. The first thing we need to do is look at our product's packaging and find the EPA registration number. This will be either 2 parts, like this one I'll use for demonstration, or 3 parts, like this. If your product has a 3-part EPA registration number, don't enter the 3rd part. Now that we have the first 2 parts of the EPA registration number, we'll click Show Results. We see that this product is on List N, so I can use it against the coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. The product name and company name may not match your product. Disinfectant products can be marketed and sold under different brand and product names. But as long as the first 2 parts of the EPA registration number match, those products will have the same formulation and efficacy. That is, they'll contain the same ingredients and they'll kill the same pathogens. If the first 2 parts of your product's EPA registration number are on List N, EPA expects that product to kill the coronavirus SARS-CoV-2 as long as you use it according to the directions on the product's package. For this particular product, we'll kill SARS-CoV-2 by following the directions on the package for norovirus. Disinfectant labels can have different directions for different pathogens, and some pathogens are harder to kill than others. Norovirus, for example, is harder to kill than the coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. When using a product on List N, follow the directions for the pathogen in this column to kill SARS-CoV-2. List N can also give us more information about how to use a product effectively. The contact time tells us how long a surface needs to remain visibly wet to kill the coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. Surface types tells us what kinds of surfaces we can treat. Hard, non-porous surfaces are things like doorknobs and light switches, and porous surfaces are things like fabrics. Use sites tell us where we can use these products in healthcare, institutional, or residential settings. Anytime you use an EPA-registered disinfectant, read and follow the label directions. And if you have questions, check out our FAQs on disinfectants and coronavirus at epa.gov.
Okay, so that clearly explains how you would you decide which disinfectant is effective on killing the virus. And also when you go to that site, it also explains what surfaces you can use it on. If it's a food surface in your household, it tells you which disinfectants are useful on or it's best to use on those kinds of surfaces where you prepare food. So that's important. Now these are just posters, and I'm not going to go through them thoroughly. The video clips I've shown kind of explain these posters, kind of reiterating some of the information in those little video clips. It shows you to check that the product you're using is EPA approved. You have to read the directions to make sure that you're using it on the correct surface. We're going to talk a little bit later on about pre-cleaning surfaces before you disinfect it, about contact time, how long that disinfectant should be on the surface for it to be effective. And then, of course, while you're using the disinfectant, you want to wear gloves, wash your hands, wear gloves. So these are just posters that can be printed out and posted wherever in your county offices. You can hand out to your clientele, or they can be posted in different areas. It could be in a grocery store, or in a market, or anywhere where you know that your clientele frequent a lot, and it will be just a constant reminder on what they need to do. This is also another poster that can be printed off, and it tells you how to disinfect your home as well. So these are included there as just posters that can be printed off. Now that we know all about the virus, how it spread, how to take care of ourselves, how to take care of surfaces to make sure it's clean, how to find the correct disinfectant. Now, we have also learned throughout this time, especially in the beginning part when the pandemic was just started, is how impactful it was on the food supply chain and different aspects of the food supply chain. And these are just some of the areas: production, harvesting, cleaning the produce, packaging, processing, transportation, markets, all different sections of the food supply chain. Mostly in the beginning, they were talking about the food supply, food, and how the virus is impacting the distribution, the processing, and all of that when it comes to food. They were mostly addressing like major companies, let me say companies or major industry, but not a lot of emphasis was placed on smaller communities, smaller limited resource farmers. Not a lot of attention was being paid to those people. I don't know if in the beginning part you also heard that they were actually discarding food. And even though people were saying, why not donate it to food banks, because so many people are now using food banks, but the food banks were saying they didn't have enough storage for all that food. So a lot of food was actually going to waste. People were not able to sell the food because most places were closed anyway. So there was a lot of issues going on with that. So the whole supply chain was being impacted by this virus. And as I was just saying, that the areas that were mostly affected, that weren't getting a lot of attention, were small minority communities. And this inequality has led to most of these producers either losing their businesses totally, or maybe just losing money and eventually end up losing their businesses. And maybe in your area where you're from, you find that there are stores that still have not reopened, even though things have improved and some people are starting to open up businesses. Especially where I am, there are still lots of places that have not reopened. So we know how impactful this pandemic has been, especially on minority communities. And as I said, this was the kind of the focus. This is kind of the focus of this grant, is to focus on training clientele in these small communities, these minority communities and communities that generally do not get a lot of focus. So that's what this training is about. Now, if you look at this picture, these are people in the field harvesting crops. And you notice that they are distance apart and they are wearing masks. So everything we're gonna be talking about, just keep this picture in mind, because it's telling us that no matter where you're working in the field, you still have to take precautions. And as I have here, it says that people are the #1 vector in spreading disease. So regardless of how you get it, if you go back to the base, it's people who are spreading the disease, the virus. So we have to be careful. And in that way, you have to adjust your normal routine. Over the years, the way you have done things, you have to make special effort now to kind of change that routine in order to stay protected and to protect others. Now, these are some of the people that we have to be concerned about now, that, you have to change things. You, on your farm, first of all, you're gonna have to set an example by making sure you're following the guidelines that needs to be followed to stay safe. And then you may have family members who work with you, or you may hire people or have people who volunteer to work on your farm. You have extension people who visit you to, help you. You may have veterinarians that you call to check on your animals. Or you have people just visiting your farm because, they hear that you're doing a good job. They just want to see how you're, what you're doing for your crops or your animals. Or maybe you sell products from your farm, you have customers coming in, or any other people like utility workers that are coming in maybe to fix a faucet or your electricity. So anybody coming on your farm, you have to change how things used to be in the past. Another thing is that some of these people, you may have different entrances to your farm. People can come from different sides depending on the location of your farm. You may want to limit all of those different entrances to maybe have one where you have posted signs on how people, what they need to do before they can enter the farm. In that way, there's a lot more control over what is going on. So some of the guidelines they need to follow is make sure that everyone coming on wear a mask. You want to make sure that these signs are posted in areas where everyone can see them. And as I said before, it includes anybody coming to the farm. And the importance of these signs posted in conspicuous areas is that there are times, sometimes you forget to put the mask on, you got out your car and you start walking towards the farm or a building, and you just say, oops, I forgot, because you see the sign and that remind you, and you may run back to your car to get your mask. So that's why it's important to have these posted signs as a reminder. Okay, Dr. Diabate, you want to start here?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to start with talking about planting and harvesting. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bartlett. That was something, I don't know if I can match your level, but I'll try here. Now, let me explain what the thing is, we're talking about the supply chain. If you talk about the supply chain, we're talking about from the seed, planting, harvesting, transportation, processing, transportation again to the retail, and the retail, the processing there, and from there to your kitchen or to your plate. This is the whole chain we're talking about here, especially for our limited resource farmers who are the one producing, or our communities, where we are the one receiving the food or buying it or taking it to our place and cooking it. So we're talking about the old packages here. When you look at the old package here, let's start by planting and harvesting here. We all know that three basic things. So you have by now wear mask all the time. And mentioned before by Dr. Bartlett that the mask need to be covering the nose and the mouth, not under like a fashion, that kind of fashion thing. It is not the way it's supposed to be. You don't have to open your mouth area, your nose area, because the nose is the one who's going to take the little thing in your body. So we have to be covered. It's not when it comes to COVID, it's not a fashion. It's something we need to do to save our life, to save our family life. So when we do this kind of training, we have to emphasize this is not something you have a choice. You have to do it to protect yourself, to protect everybody, Dr. Barley mentioned before. And then I am not I see the farming. Every time I go to the farm to work with farmers, I see the distance. When you have the plants this side and there is a small distance. To me, this one tells me that a farmer or somebody working at a farm or somebody coming to the farm is used to at least a par in the field, being some feet part of the field. It may not be the 6 now. So it's not something difficult for small farmers to understand. This 6 feet apart is at least what we're supposed to be from each other when we are at a farm level. So 6 feet, grocery store 6 feet, anybody, people get together 6 feet. Cover your nose, your mouth with mask, 6 feet apart. And also, anytime you see a sign that you are not feeling good, just now go to the farm, don't leave your house, or call the healthcare center to get information where you're supposed to be doing. Do not go where you meet people, your workplace, your markets, your farm. Do not go anywhere near those places. So another one is that everything, see, this is something that we already know in our normal life, but the COVID is telling us to emphasize more, not to be negligent. Hand must be washed after using the bathroom, the restroom, all the time. This is normal. You see the sign all the time when you go to the grocery store, when you go to certain places, and they say, must wash hands when you are after using the restroom. So we need to be doing it seriously, but the thing is how we're doing it. At least 20 seconds, we need to wash the hands at least 20 seconds. And guess what? I try to measure myself. I try to do it when I saw this recommendation. I try to wash my hand for 20 seconds. I thought 20 seconds was not that, it was not that, it was really quick. I found that it was not quick. So I have to practice 20 seconds. I wash it, 20 seconds. Keep washing, never finish. But you learn something. So we have the habit of doing this thing, but we need to more emphasize on it and limit and restrain ourselves for just being a little bit negligent. So when you wash your hands, you need to sanitize your hand all the time. You need to have hand sanitizer. You have to have something to not only you wash, we're going to see what not only we wash, but also you need to sanitize. Especially you need to wash with liquid hand soap. And then I like this part here. So when you say, make sure there is adequate amount of toilet paper. Yes, very good. The second one is liquid hand soap. Say, bar soap can harbor some pathogens and possibly contaminate the next user. So when you just do the bar soap and then you wash it, you're contacting the soap and you may leave something there. But a liquid soap, they have some machine now, you can just put it there and it come down, no contact. It just come down, not normally, naturally. You come close, it's sensitive, it will just drop the liquid on your hand so you can wash it. And also, we recommend it all the time. You have to wear disposable gloves. And anytime you use the glove, go to the restroom, when you come back, leave it there. Don't use it, the same glove anymore. Make sure the restroom are clean and disinfectant. When you talk about our small resource farmers who have a challenge having this restroom at the farm, we have to make sure that when they go to the restroom, they have to have this restroom set in a certain way that you can clean all the time, but also you can disinfect all the time. Not the old fashioned that they used to do before Corona and just come and wash your hand and just move on. You have to be very serious about cleaning your wash and sanitizing it. And make sure they have a lean waste bin for collecting trash. Because if you just wash your hands, use the a paper, dry, or use the machine, whatever you touch it, you need to put it in the bin and a lean bin so it can be collected with a plastic so it can be collected to be disposed to where it's supposed to be. Now, sometimes the farmer, they have people working. They have people working on the farm, and sometimes in the family also may be there, or some visitors, they may have a little food to eat or drink. They gotta be careful. Once you do that, once you have a plan or people want to do that, you have to have a design, a secure place or designated area where they can go and just eat. This is only this place you can eat. It may not be a building. It may not be a kind of a nice structure, but at least it needs to be somewhere. This is the area that they can go and eat. And then also when eating, they can have a social distancing between themselves all the time. And it is not something that, again, we are used to. When you work at a farm, you have a tendency just to work and eat and keep doing it. But this is completely different. This is a new era now. We can't go back. We have to make sure that this is a place this is the place where we eat, and when we eat at that place, same time, we have to have a social distancing maintained, 6 feet maintained. Let me tell you the funny story. I was at a place, I went to I got the food at the restaurant. So I was wearing a mask at the restaurant and I tried to eat it. I got a food like, I don't know if it's McDonald's, something. And I opened it a little bit in my car and I tried to eat it. But I forgot that I have a mask on. I have a mask on, I'm trying to eat. So I said to myself, oh boy, this thing is getting too much. Are you going to eat through the mask or what? So that's when I realized that, hey, you're going too far. So I laugh at myself, and this is something that, because I have a habit of putting this thing on all the time, a mask all the time, that it happened, it may happen to you, you just laugh about it and you move on. But that tells you that anywhere you are, you have to be sure that you wear masks and any place you go to, especially the restaurant or the farm, and wash your hand and put the 6 feet apart between you and anybody else. And do not allow, especially farmers, do not allow visitors to bring pets on the farm. Yes, it have not been proven. It have not been proven that pets can spread the virus. But, you know, for sanitation, you gotta be careful. You never know, because this thing is evolving. Everything is not known. And we're working on it. Everybody is working, the CDC, all the experts, all the research people, they're working on it, but it's not completely done. So be careful a little bit. So it's also said sometimes that, hey, we don't know. The virus can spread from humans to animals. For those who have animals there, it is a little bit scary to see that you can spread the virus to your dogs, your cats, or I don't know, the chicken, your cow, the goats. If you are a farmer, that's very scary. If you are in the community, or if you are dog or small animal lovers, it is very scary. So you have to take extra precaution to do these things here, okay? So when you have dog and cats reported to be infected with the virus after coming in contact with people who are infected. So even if you go walk with your dog outside, you gotta be careful. Some people used to leave the dog so they can run a little bit, exercise a little bit, come back. You gotta be careful. You cannot do that at this time. You gotta put the leash on and you gotta hold them and you gotta know where. And when you see other people, how to avoid, you can't put a dog to dog and people to people together all the time. So it's not the best way to do it.
Okay, Doctor, I'm gonna click on this link here to kind of show you what advice they gave about what Dr. Diabate just said. It's everything that he said on the slide, but it says here that you want to treat pets as you would other human members. Do not let pets interact with people outside of the household. And if a person inside the household becomes sick, you want to isolate that person from everyone else, including pets. So although we are not sure if the pets can pass it on to humans, but there are evidence that it can be passed on from pets to humans. So regardless, we have to be careful. So that's why in the thing it says, do not let people bring their pets to the farm, because they are still studying this. We're not sure, and we do not want to take that chance. So that's what he was talking about on that. You can go ahead, Dr. Diabate.
Okay, we all know if you are a farmer, especially a small and limited resource farmer here, and we have a tendency, like the name says, small, limited resource farmers. They may not have everything a normal farmer or a big farmer or somebody who just established as farmer have in the farm. But in our communities, we're dealing with farmers who don't have enough resources, who struggle to even operate the simple farm. So, but at least they need to provide a clean water. Provide a clean water for hand washing. Workers should be, we said it, 20 seconds. Wash your hand for 20 seconds and be 6 feet from each other. 20 seconds is the rule. 20 seconds. Keep washing your hand with detergent, liquid detergent preferable, the best one. Don't use the the bar soap. So use the liquid detergent for 20 seconds. Keep washing it 20 seconds. I mean, if you enjoy, you can even pass 20 seconds for safety reason and knowing that what kind of impact this virus can have on you, on your family, on your loved one, you have to do at least 20 seconds. See, we're using all the farm equipment. When you're a farmer, you use farmer at least all equipment. It may be depending on the season of the year of your farm activities, but you need to have all the equipment clean and sanitized. So see, the word is clean and sanitized before and after use. A farmer, sometimes some of the equipment, they may wash them and they're not sanitizing them, or they are so small, or they don't think it's so important, they can just come and leave it there, the tire, and then come back and use it. So now we have to tell the farmers, yes, it takes a time, but for the health of yourself, your family members, your customers, everybody come to contact with you, your product, you gotta make sure that all your farm equipment are clean and sanitized before and after use. And make sure that you have a designated place where that place also need to be clean and sanitized before you bring the clean and sanitized one and put them in the dirt or in sanitized one. So if possible, it's better not to share equipment and tool during this time. You see, like I say again, we have a limited resource farmers. They share equipment, their neighbors, their friends, they go to church together, they grow up together. So they share tools, they share equipment. Make sure that this time you limit that. Limits, or just not do it. If you cannot do it, make sure you put some barrier. If the equipment is used, how do you clean it? How do you sanitize it? Make sure that everything is done properly before you start sharing. It is very difficult. I'm going to say it. It's very difficult for our limited resource farmers who depend on using each other equipment to do the work at the farm, because they cannot afford to buy all the equipment for the small farm they have. And there is another one here, for example. Sometimes we know there's some farmers, they lease equipment on the ranch. How do you handle that kind of situation? Still, when you do the washing and the sanitizing of equipment, places, respect to self-distancing, 20-second rule of washing your hand, you will be okay. But still, you got to make sure that you limit to the smallest the contact between you and anybody else outside your family. So also wear clean boots, shoes, and clothes each visit to the farm. Anytime you come and visit the farm, you have to wear clean boots all the time. Again, clean boots, clean shoes, clean cloth, everything needs to be clean. I am trying to say, even if you go to lunchtime to get lunch, if the food is for limited resource farmers, if it is in the house, and your farm, you live in the farm, you live in the farm. And when you go inside to eat, how do you go inside? You clean your hands, you take all the equipment before you get in. And then when you come back, it will be necessary, it will be obligation for you to wear clean boots. So meaning it's going to be something different. Now, that's harvesting, and that's when you harvest. You gotta be very serious. You see all this nice produce here we have. And then this produce, by seeing it, the customer have a tendency just to pick them up and look at them. You know, nice tomatoes, nice papers, nice bells, papers, and all that. I mean, it's so good that it attracts people when you try to sell it. What will happen? Once produce are harvested, they must be handled before getting to the customer. First, before the customers. Now, you need to wash it. You need to wash it. You need to sort them, packing them, cooling them, sorting them, whatever you have to do in a normal way. In the normal activity, just do that. Washing, see, this washing, remove dirt chemical before storage retails. Before you sell it or before you do anything, you see on the picture, you have to wash it. And sorting, you gotta move. This is a normal thing we do anyway. The farmer is supposed to be doing, removing damage, discolor, decay produce, packing, clean, and start the container to protect for contamination damage during transportation. We don't want any damage for during transportation. Pre-cooling also, done in chill water or ice before storage at lower temperature to reduce microbial activities. So everything here is washing, sorting, packaging, pre-cooling, and do everything the way it's supposed to be here. And area where produce are clean, shared outdoor must be separate from other area of farm activities. Summary, we have a place when we're going to eat. We have to have that place separate. Now we're cleaning a product. We need to have also a place where we clean out the products. Or every area of the farm activity is going to be, they need to be separate. They cannot be, you cannot use the same place for to do all your operation. Some I've seen small farmers doing the same thing at same place before, but this is a different time. And make sure if you are using a kitchen, clean, disinfected surface all the time. You gotta be able to, all the time, you have to clean, disinfect surface all the time, all the time. We've seen it when you use, when you buy, bring the produce to on the house, usually, or the farm, usually there is a place there when they sort everything, when they clean everything. That area needs to be clean, but when you take it to your house also, that area also needs to be not only clean, physically removing stuff, but also disinfecting the surface. And also, area must be clean, no trash on or standing water. No. Everything needs to be clean. The trash needs to be changed all the time. Clean the trash. When you trash, we have a tendency to sometimes leave the trash, if it's not big one, for the next day or all that. So you need to know, you cannot do that. You have to clean them. You have to clean them. The water needs to be running. The surface needs to be clean all the time and sanitized. Control pests if necessary. They can carry harmful pathogen that can cause disease. We've seen it before. We hear that before. Man can transmit it to animals. There are some cases, but you have also to care for your animals because they may carry other disease because of certain area not being clean or sanitized. Again, one more time, all the time, wear mask. Arrange layout for example, here, we've seen it in some grocery store here. When you enter one way, you come out the other way. There is no contact. There is no even closeness. A lot of grocery store, a lot of even restaurant, they do it. You come this way, you exit by the other way. Before it was not, you come anyhow and you leave anyhow, as long as they said exit or entrance, they say it is it. But now things have changed. You have to have a little plan when people can come, when they enter, or your produce or your produce come from the farm, this is the way you come with, and then you go through a cycle of cleaning, sorting, packaging, labeling, and put it in the clean area. Cleaning and they also need to be separate. And also do not do, let somebody, okay? Let somebody removing, cleaning it, and the other person, for example, somebody bringing, like we say, somebody bringing it. Do not let the same person cleaning it and just wash his hand and move to, or don't even wash his hand and move to the next level and start packaging it also, or labeling or selling it. If you have some help or just require help to do those actions separate, the person handling it, bringing it from the farm to the area where they're going to be processed, and have to be different from the person taking it the ends and selling to the market. So here, cleaning and sanitizing are separate action. And this is what sometimes people, we have a tendency not to do or to understand because we don't understand it. So when you clean it, sometimes when we go to the farm, I don't know if you do it, but I do it sometimes when I go to the farm before Corona, I just take it, whatever fruit, whatever there, I'll rinse it with water and just eat it. I can't do that anymore. So I feel that pain a little bit. So when you take it, cleaning, and you remove all the dirt or organic matter from surface, you clean it. But there is another one here. So is when you sanitize, so you eliminate the microorganism.
And this little video clip will kind of explain what Dr. Diabate just said and how important it is to remove the dirt before you sanitize.
Even with the pull, you can see the new growth there. This company might have just cured baldness.
Hi, my name is Amanda Kinchla. I'm an extension specialist here at UMass. Food safety is an important component of agricultural practices. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between cleaning and sanitizing.
Sanitation is a multi-step process. Simply spraying sanitizer on a dirty work surface is a waste of time and money because organic material on that surface will quickly render the sanitizer ineffective. Cleaning means removing soil, dirt, plant residues, or other materials from a surface. Start with brushing or rinsing off dirt and debris like leaves or soil. Then wash with a detergent using elbow grease and a scrub brush. Rinse the surface with potable or drinkable water. Large equipment should be cleaned from the top down. Sanitizing is the process of applying a sanitizer solution that will kill 99.999% of surface microorganisms, including those that cause foodborne illness. There are a variety of sanitizers to choose from. Some include chlorine, peroxyacetic acid, quaternary ammonium sanitizers. When choosing a sanitizer, be sure to check that it is regulatory compliant. It is important to follow manufacturer's directions for mixing the appropriate sanitizer concentration for the job and to confirm concentrations using test strips regularly to ensure the solution remains effective. Apply as directed and allow to air dry or rinse with potable water if required. We encourage the use of a sanitizer test strip to confirm the concentration prior to use. Not all surfaces will require sanitizing, but if you do sanitize, you must clean first. An effective cleaning and sanitizing program follows these steps. First, brush, wipe, or rinse off all plant, dirt, or other debris. Then, scrub with detergent. And finally, be sure to rinse with potable water. If you are using a sanitizer, be sure that you prepare the sanitizer at the appropriate concentration, as recommended by the label.
Confirm the sanitizer concentration using a test strip. Allow to air dry or rinse as described by the manufacturer's use. Remember, if you are using a sanitizer, it is recommended to routinely check the concentration to ensure effectiveness. For more information regarding standard operating procedures for cleaning and sanitizing, go to our website.
Good, good. So here is, again, we're talking about, this clip was very good for us to understand what are we talking about when we say the 4-step process. So the clip said it: remove dirt, apply appropriate detergent and scrub, rinse with clean water, apply appropriate sanitizer, rinse if it's required by the label. See, every time we use something, especially, I don't know about you, but me, I feel like I know bleach so much that I can just take it, whatever concentration, I can just put it there and try to clean something. But I never learned, my wife keep telling me, I never learned a lesson because I keep washing everything with bleach, and I mess up my clothes all the time because a little drop on it just mess up everything. But I love washing it with Clorox all the time. So look at it, the 4th step. Once you follow those steps, everything is clean, everything is taken care of. And remember, we are taking this one to the farmers, our communities, so they can apply it.